dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription.
Okay, we are up and running. YouTube's been giving me issues the last few mornings. I was running late anyway, so thanks for being here. Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. I'm scrambling here this morning. YouTube has been a little bit difficult for me here the last few mornings. Hey, it's great to be with you. Tuesday, January 28th. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. And again, good morning to those who are watching on YouTube. We do the 6 a.m. hour every morning on YouTube. And there's a small number of folks who watch each morning. So it's great to have you along. A lot of folks catch it on the replay. All right, let's take a look at the big stories this morning. We're going to talk about this in more detail. The Donald Trump hinting at removing the income tax and replacing it with tariffs. So he suggests it. And then I love Matt Margolis over at PJ Media, but I watched this. I watched what Trump actually said yesterday. And Margolis is saying he did it. Trump calls for ending the federal income tax. Did he? That's not what I heard. Not what I heard. But he's talking about it. And I'm curious to get your take on this morning. We'll open up our phone lines later in the program and get your thoughts. So he talked about doing away with the income tax for Americans, saying it's time for the U.S. to return to a system that made us richer and powerful. And he said the U.S. should be enriching itself by tariffing and taxing foreign nationals, he said. And he talked about the fact that the country had done this previously. He said, the U.S. in 1870 through 1913, all tariffs. And that was the richest period in the history of the U.S., relatively speaking, he said. And they set up a blue ribbon committee, the Great Tariff Commission of 1887. And this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. He said it was so enormous that they had no idea what to do with all the money we had. And he said, and again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. He was given a vast amount of money, and that was all made through tariffs. So we had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913, he said. So he seems to be talking about, now again, he's suggesting it, which with Donald Trump often is a precursor to taking action. I mean, clearly this is on his mind. He's talking about it. He's sharing thoughts about it. So would he remove the income tax and replace it with tariffs? So I'd be curious to get your thoughts on that this morning. Honestly, that would be something that just personally I'm not very familiar with. If in fact the U.S. had been able to function that way previously, and so we'll talk about it coming up this morning. What would your feelings be on that? Also, there's a lot of news involving Donald Trump. As we really kind of focus what's going on in the southern border, the rapid response of Donald Trump and continuing to conduct nationwide immigration and customs enforcement raids. On Sunday, the agency had reported at least 956 arrests. And I had seen a piece saying that, and I forget where it was I had read this, Donald Trump was saying he wanted between 1,100 and 1,500 plus a day that he wants people being, sent out of the country, removed from the country, who are not, who are in the country illegally. So he wants somewhere between 1,100 and 1,500 folks a day being shipped out of the United States. And so I think it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not we see those numbers rise as a result of this. So ICE had posted an infographic yesterday saying that they had made 1,170 arrests. Tom Holman has been out. He was in Chicago on Sunday. More on that in a few moments. He was out, and I mentioned this during the fourth hour yesterday, that Dr. Phil was out with Tom Holman and ICE on Sunday night. Excuse me. So more on that in a few moments. Trump is also, and again with Donald Trump, sometimes it's difficult to tell when Trump is joking and when Trump is serious, because he talked about deploying IRS agents on the southern border. And this was over the weekend. And he told supporters he plans to deploy these IRS agents to the southern border to help Border Patrol. And according to the Tampa Free Press, Trump has implemented a 90-day freeze on all new federal hires. I think Donald Trump is moving so fast that news is having difficulty keeping up. It's pretty amazing. At least that's, I find it really, really amazing how quickly Donald Trump is moving. As we talk about the border, One American News Network has a story this morning about Mexican cartel members firing on U.S. Border Patrol agents yesterday in Texas, led to near the border, led to a heated exchange then of gunfire. The good news is no Border Patrol agents were injured. So it was taking place as a group of illegals were noticed attempting to cross the Rio Grande. Also, have you seen, and Fox News had this yesterday, the numbers of people who are trying to get into the country illegally drop like a stone. I'm not saying that there are still people trying to cross, still those who are trying to come into the country illegally, but the numbers are down vastly. It's like where you had during the Biden administration, you had numbers of 1,100 people a day or more. In some areas it's down to like less than 50. So it's pretty incredible. And again, it really makes the case that I think that a lot of us have been saying. You have got to have stern enforcement of the border. If you want to maintain our border, if you want people to obey the law, it requires enforcement. You can't just throw open the gates and let people in. Also, there's a story this morning, and I shared this on Facebook, curious to get your thoughts for those of you who follow the Greg Belfrage Show on Facebook. First of all, thank you. Appreciate that. But about Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez, a video of herself crying, and she said, which is now deleted. She had to delete the video because it was not going over well. And she said, I just want to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. Not all my people. She's an American, okay? She's an American. Her people, what is she talking about? I just find that. So she says, all my people are getting attacked. The children, I don't understand. What children are being attacked? I mean, wow. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do some. I mean, she's in tears. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything. I promise. Well, this was not well received. She was getting a lot of heat, so then she took down the video, posted another message that said, apparently it's not okay to show empathy for people. No, actually, it's just fine to show empathy for people, but man, you just went obscenely overboard. I mean, give me a break. Showing empathy for people without being in tears, and, at what point are you making it all about you? At some point you're on Instagram shedding tears. If I'm going to be shedding tears, and I'm not saying that I don't, I mean, especially as I get older, my emotions come way up to the surface. Um, if I'm going to be shedding tears, I'm not going to be doing it in front of, my webcam. And I'm not going to be posting it on social media. I just don't. Those are private moments. I understand being frustrated by things. Man, I get frustrated all the time. Am I in tears? So this is Piers Morgan reacted on X. He said, posting yourself weeping over illegal immigrant criminals being deported is a new level of absurd celebrity narcissism. Bingo. Amen. Piers Morgan, who I don't agree with on a lot of things. But when he gets it right, man, he gets it right. So Selena Gomez, and then Tom Holman asked to respond to this. He was on Hannity's program, and Tom Holman, being our borders are being asked to react to this nonsense of Selena Gomez. And he said, this is all for the good of the nation, and we're going to keep going. No apologies. We're going to move forward, he says. So there are a number of stories involving that this morning. It's just a little bit much, isn't it, my friend? It's a little overpowering, I think. Also, Donald Trump says that a Microsoft is in talks to acquire TikTok. So he is still working forward on what to do with TikTok after the, TikTok had gone dark then at one point and then was back up and running. And Trump saying, they were trying to work on some resolution to TikTok. Microsoft apparently interested. Also, there's a story this morning. Jim Acosta is out at CNN, according to reports. And I think it was Oliver Darcy at Status News said the anchor, I'm told, signaled to associates in private conversations over the weekend that he intends to depart the network after its chief executive booted him from the morning programming lineup. A move that, in fact, they moved him out of mornings. They were going to move him to midnight. From mornings to midnight. That's not exactly a promotion. You know what I mean? And there are folks who are inside CNN, some of these CNN insiders who are saying, this could have been a good move for him in that midnight audience. And well, yeah. So anyway, Jim Acosta apparently out at CNN. As we were talking about Tom Holman, he was on Newsmax. He told Newsmax that this was yesterday. He knew it wouldn't take long for Colombia to reverse its decision to turn away those 2 U.S. military aircraft. And Holman said, I knew it was a bad move because President Trump is not going to put up with that. Look, the country needs to take back their nationals. That's a requirement. These people are born in Colombia. They're nationals in Colombia. They're here illegally. so they get formally departed. They need to accept their citizens back, just like we take our citizens back in times of strife. But the minute that came out, I said this will last an hour because President Trump, he puts America first. So does Tom Homan, in my opinion. So, speaking of Homan, Dr. Phil joined Tom Homan in Chicago as they were carrying out deportation operations. And so Dr. Phil was there. They were taking illegals into custody, and Dr. Phil really was. And they talked to one illegal, and Dr. Phil asked him, "You've been charged with sex crimes with children?" This is a guy from Thailand. And so he said, "You've been charged with sex crimes with children?" And the guy says, "Not really." Not really? Not really? That's kind of the same response I think any sane person would have. So, and it just got more absurd from there. It was pretty wild. Also, there's a story this morning at the Hill about Republican lawmakers grappling with the fallout from Trump's executive actions, in particular, the firing of 17 inspectors general. And legacy media is making a lot of this. I shared comments with you yesterday from Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley, who had some concern about it. So the Hill is quoting Senator Mike Rounds this morning. And so senators were surprised by the dismissal of the 17 inspectors general. And Senator Rounds said, "You have to take each one of the actions separately. For me, I've asked for more information on the support or the legal ramifications of actually firing the individuals," he said. And he said, "Republicans need to work our way through them." He said, "I think the president wanted to hit the ground running. And I think he really has a concern about a bureaucracy that could be in his way." And then he told the Hill, he said, "I personally used a number of their reports." Now he's talking about the Inspector General reports. He said, "I personally used a number of their reports in the past. And so I don't know why he chose those particular ones. I'd like to learn more why he chose those," he said. So that's continuing to be a story. Also this morning, there's just a lot of this is revolving around Donald Trump. Now, also, there was a story, and we've not talked about this much, but yeah, Pete Hegseth, who is now the defense secretary, and he said on Sunday that he would not stand for malicious compliance with regard to his efforts to root out DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, from the military. And he's speaking pretty firmly. I mean, so he said this was immediately after his confirmation. He said he would ensure that the military would return to full strength and lethality. That's a promise he has made throughout. He said it's an effort that would require a focus on fitness for duty rather than social demographics. And then you had reaction from some, but I'm not too concerned about what some of the Democrats are. Democrats react in the same way all of the time. It's what I was saying yesterday. It's always, they turn it up to 11. And, that volume just gets, for many of us, just gets a little bit tiring. Other things that Donald Trump has done. His administration put on leave about 60 senior career officials at the U.S. Agency for International Development. And the reason is because these employees, apparently the agency is quite woke. And so this is, the memo did not spell out how many people were affected by the decision, but it's around 60 people, about 60. They're being put on leave. And then you get someone who said people are calling it the Monday afternoon massacre. Oh, please. Also, Donald Trump's Department of Justice fired over a dozen individuals who worked on special counsel Jack Smith's team. Remember the former special counsel? So now, over a dozen officials who work for his team, DOJ is firing, and they're just saying, because the Attorney General doesn't trust these officials to actually implement the president's agenda, and therefore they have been let go. You got a lot of people who are being let go by the federal government. And that's a look at today's big news. In fact, there's more. I wish I could get to more. I'm just out of time. 6:27. Thanks so much for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show here at Kello.
Robins, weekdays at 2. Kello News Talk.
Seriously, Google is changing the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America on all their maps. We have Scott Bessent, who was confirmed by the Senate, the new Secretary of the Treasury. I mean, there is just a lot going on moving forward. Wild. Okay, that's...
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, if your home and auto are both damaged in one storm, you only pay one deductible with our one deductible advantage. Learn more at fbfs.com/protect. It's your future. Let's protect it. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Agricultural Insurance Company.
Tune in for the Town and Country Show this morning at 10 o'clock.
Okay, we're still up and running. Good. I really was scrambling to get this thing up and YouTube up and running on time.
About how agriculture impacts farmers, business
Thanks for being here.
And city residents. Join Crystal Smith for the Farm Bureau Town and Country.
Hey, I'd like to tell you about my friends at the new 49th Street Liquor at 49th in Minnesota. If you're looking for a liquor store, it's got it all without the hassle. You will definitely find it at 49th Street Liquor. First of all, parking is really easy. Your steps from the door, and once you're inside, I think you're going to love everything you see. They've got all your favorite beer, wine, and spirits. The staff is just absolutely terrific. So if you're looking for something in particular, please feel free to ask them. They would love to show you, help you around. Please tell them I sent you. 49th Street Liquor has got a big walk-in beer cave with a number of local beers that are there. Pretty good selection. There are seltzers and a lot more. You got a special event coming up. You're looking for fine liqueurs. You'll find them at 49th Street Liquor. So just check out everything they've got. I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised. Your happy hour starts at the new 49th Street Liquor at 49th in Minnesota. Oh, we're not going to make it.
Mostly sunny skies and very mild today. Our high temperature at 52, west wind 20 to 35. Tonight, we're looking at a low at 27, mainly clear. Tomorrow, lighter winds, highs in the mid-40s, partly cloudy conditions, and temperatures rebounding into the low 50s on Thursday. From the Storm Center.
Okay. I talked too long. As I've told you before, I got so much time. I'm looking at the clock. It's right here. So I'm looking at the clock all of the time. How much time I've got? Okay, how much do I have? And it's like starts really slow. And the closer you get to the end, the faster the time goes. Okay.
Republican retreat in Florida yesterday. America's listening to Fox News.
Kellogg News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kellogg.com News Center. The South Dakota House says no to the use of eminent domain for carbon dioxide pipelines. Representatives voted 49-19 yesterday, passing a bill that blocks forced land acquisition for carbon dioxide transportation projects. Bill sponsor Carla Lem says property rights are paramount.
South Dakota is open for business, but not at the expense of South Dakota citizens' rights. This is not stopping any project. In Minnesota, they cannot use eminent domain for this project, and guess what? They are getting it done.
Opponent of the bill, Tim Reich, warns it could harm economic development, particularly for a planned $1.5 billion ethanol plant near Lake Preston.
The taxes generated by this one new business will greatly benefit local governments, schools, counties that are hurting.
The bill now moves to the Senate. 4 Native American tribes here in South Dakota are temporarily waiving the fees to obtain tribal ID cards. The move comes as U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement raids continue across the country. Tribes are expressing concerns over tribal members potentially being mistaken for undocumented immigrants and getting detained. Tribal ID cards are considered evidence of identity, lawful permanent residence, and U.S. citizenship. Tribal officials are encouraging members to carry their tribal IDs with them at all times. South Dakota's statewide homeless count will take place today. The planned annual one-day census will help estimate the number of people who are experiencing homelessness in the state. Officials say the data collected will help measure progress, identify service gaps, and raise awareness. According to SD Housing, 1,338 people were counted at this time last year. And South Dakota's 34th governor, Larry Roden, took the oath of office yesterday in Pierre. Roden plans to address a joint session of the state legislature this afternoon. From the Kellogg.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kellogg News Talk 1320 107.9.
Mostly sunny skies and very mild today. Our high temperature at 52 in Sioux Falls. West winds, though, 20 to 35 and gusty. For tonight, we're down to 27 for a low, mainly clear. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, a high in the mid-40s with a west wind at 5 to 15. Back to the low 50s Thursday. From the Storm Center at Kittleland TV, I'm Brian Karstens.
If it matters to you, you'll hear it on Kellogg. All day, every day. Kellogg News Talk 1320 107.9.
As you probably know, DeepSeek is Communist China's answer to ChatGPT. DeepSeek is faster and easy to use. So did Red China really spring ahead of the United States? I'm Kim Commando for ExpressVPN. Their secure servers reroute my internet connection so that all my data is encrypted. Get an extra 4 months free. ExpressVPN.com/Kim. DeepSeek soared to the top of the app stores yesterday morning, overtaking ChatGPT. At the same time, financial markets had $1 trillion market loss. China says DeepSeek was built in only 2 months using reduced capacity American chips sold by NVIDIA under President Biden's administration. China has a long history of stealing and reverse engineering U.S. tech. They did it with numerous Boeing aircraft, beginning with the 707, and continuing today with America's super secret F-22 Raptor. 2 things are certain. America should never sell current technology to China, and China is not our friend. Sign up for my free newsletter at getkim.com. Let's face it, there is no such thing as private browsing. Even using incognito mode, even if you clear your browsing history, your internet provider can see every single website you've ever visited. That's why I never go online without using ExpressVPN. When you use ExpressVPN, your internet connection is rerouted through one of their secure servers with an IP address that's shared among thousands of users. That means everything you do is anonymized. Plus, your data is always protected with the best-in-class encryption, even when you're using public Wi-Fi, like at a cafe or hotel. ExpressVPN has you covered on every device. Simply tap one button and you're protected. ExpressVPN is the fastest and most trusted VPN on the market. Protect your online activity today with the VPN that I trust. Go to expressvpn.com/Kim and get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter.
Unsure about your Medicare options? Call McGreevy and Associates, a 4th-generation insurance agency.
We'll assist you with your Medicare options, whether you're new to Medicare, just aging in, or been on Medicare for some time.
This is Michelle McGreevy Lawler, and we're here to help and answer your questions.
Call McGreevy and Associates or visit us at McGreevyAssociates.com.
McGreevy and Associates, Medicare, individual health insurance, and employee benefits. If you have insurance questions, McGreevy has the answer.
We got a busy day coming up tomorrow on the Greg Belfrage Show. Sioux Falls Mayor Paul Tenakin will join us 7:35 tomorrow morning. And Iowa Senator Joni Ernst will join us about an hour later for about 10 minutes. We have her. So, and we've got Jim Olander of the Sioux Falls Stampede joins us every Wednesday morning. So that'll all be coming up tomorrow on the Greg Belfrage Show.
Swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slow.
Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Estella's Pharma.
Snow, sleet, freezing rain.
Chances are you don't like dealing with nasty winter weather, unless you're a snowplow driver. Woohoo!
My favorite time of year. For everyone else, you can find out what you're facing with up-to-the-minute forecasts on Kello News.
6:38, clear skies, and 24. Good morning, my friend. Welcome. It's great to have you along this morning. Hope you are doing well. Clear skies, 24 currently at Kello. I was just telling folks on the YouTube stream this coming up tomorrow. Sioux Falls Mayor Paul Tenakin will join us on the program. He will join us at about 7:35 tomorrow morning. Then we have our regular conversation with Jim Olander of the Sioux Falls Stampede. Things are going actually pretty well for the Sioux Falls Stampede. They had a loss over the weekend, but then quickly recovered with another victory. So we'll talk to Jim about that coming up tomorrow. And then Iowa Senator Joni Ernst will join us tomorrow at 8:35. So a lot coming up tomorrow on the Greg Belfrage Show.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Now, the top trending story this morning, Selena Gomez forced to take down a video of herself in tears about Donald Trump's deportation policy. And it was a very emotional video. I mean, she was in tears. She's crying and sobbing, and which is just really, that's just really unattractive. And regardless of who does it, I haven't seen anybody who can sob and you go, "Oh, isn't that person just beautiful?" when they're sobbing. I mean, I guess maybe that's just me. It may just be me. You know what a cold-hearted, callous person I am. So she's sobbing in this emotional video, and it was not being well received by people because she wound up having to delete it. And she got 422 million followers. And she's saying, "I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything." You know, maybe the first thing you ought to try is stop crying. Actually, So, yeah, it didn't sit very well. She wound up having to delete it. And Piers Morgan kind of led the charge in the reaction. Piers Morgan, who said, posting yourself weeping over illegal immigrant criminals being deported is a new level of absurd celebrity narcissism. And there were others who were, who were a lot less kind than Piers Morgan was. So, one added in this, which I appreciate because of the thought that popped into my mind, who said, Selena Gomez, if you truly want to help, or if you truly want to help, use your millions to make their lives better. And this just goes on and on. So she wound up having to take the post down. And then she shared a message that said, apparently it's not okay to show empathy for people. I think empathy is just fine. I have no problem with empathy, having empathy for other people. This, however, is absurd, absolutely absurd. That's why you had, Piers Morgan responding in the way that he did. This is just, come on. You're a grown-up, Selena. So then Tom Homan was asked about this. Border czar Tom Homan told Fox News, he said specifically about what Gomez was saying. And he said, if they don't like it, then go to Congress and change the law. We're going to do this operation without apology. We're going to make our community safer. It's all for the good of this nation, and we're going to keep going. No apologies. We're moving forward. And then I don't know if you heard this earlier this morning. I think during America in the Morning or the Fox News rundown this morning, Tom Homan saying, we're walking through airports and people are applauding. Homan says, folks are recognizing him. They're applauding. They're stopping him and they're applauding what's going on. So, with respect to Selena Gomez, I mean, it is really absurd. That is over the top narcissism. That you want to do something to help people. And again, can I remind you, Selena Gomez is an American. Her family, she didn't, immigrate into the United States. Her family did. She didn't. She's an American. This stuff is just crazy when you watch it unfold, but is what it is. Also, the Senate yesterday voting to confirm Scott Bessent to serve as Treasury Secretary, and he was confirmed on a 68-29 vote by the full Senate. Over a dozen Democrats voted in favor of his confirmation. Also, the Trump administration has fired the team of lawyers who prosecuted him. And this is crazy. The acting attorney general, James McHenry, said you're asking yourself the question, I wonder why these officials were fired. And McHenry says, because they could not be trusted to faithfully implement the president's agenda because of their significant role in prosecuting the president. And he cited Trump's power as chief executive to justify the firings. According to a copy of the termination letter, which has been out in the media. So the lawyers worked, this says, with special counsel Jack Smith. I would say probably they worked for special counsel Jack Smith, who led the prosecutions. Also, news of the firings came the same day that Ed Martin, the top federal prosecutor in Washington, opened an internal review into the use of a felony obstruction charge in the prosecutions of people accused that were taking part in the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. So there are a lot of things that are happening while we're talking about January 6th. Enter South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham again. He's upset with Donald Trump for pardoning people that were charged in the January 6th insurrection. He was on Meet the Press over the weekend, and Graham said it was a mistake to pardon people who attacked police officers. He said pardoning the people who went into the Capitol and beat up a police officer violently, I think, was a mistake because it seems to suggest that it's an okay thing to do. Really? Is that what you are coming away with from that? I don't think it's an okay thing to do. What about you? Have your feelings on that changed at all? Who is that going to suggest to whom that it's okay to do that? I don't think so. He said, I think most Americans, if this continues, will revisit the pardon power of the president. Senator Graham, wrong again. That's pretty common for Senator Lindsey Graham. Makes me shake my head. Other stories involved, there are a number of stories trending. Donald Trump is driving trending news every day since he's become president, and even prior. But he is driving stories that are trending. So Donald Trump talking about deploying IRS agents to the southern border, suggesting that over the weekend, that some, 88,000 newly hired IRS agents should be reassigned to work on the border. And Trump was saying, again, this was over the weekend, they hired or tried to hire 88,000 new workers to go after you. We're in the process of developing a plan to either terminate all of them or maybe we'll move them to the border. I think we're going to move them to the border. Well, they're allowed to carry guns. They're so strong on guns, but these people are allowed to carry guns, so we'll probably move them to the border. So was Trump joking? Sometimes it's hard to tell. I would tell you, I'm not always certain and that's all right with me. That's all right with me. I think because what Trump does is keep me on my toes, which I think he does with the country at large. So Donald Trump also signed an executive order on Sunday in a move to drastically improve FEMA. And this calls for the establishment of a FEMA review council to conduct a full review of the agency and submit recommended changes to the president. So this body would have no more than 20 members, and it would be co-chaired by Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. So he wants a review of what's going on with FEMA. Trump has, as we talked about recently, Trump has talked about potentially returning that power to the states, disaster management, returning that to the states, with the federal government then supporting states with funding rather than sending in FEMA. And I think that would be okay with many, given some of the outrageous things we've seen FEMA involved in nationally. Also, the story about Donald Trump reinstating those troops that were booted over the COVID vaccine, still being celebrated by some. Representative Brian Mast, who is a retired U.S. Army bomb disposal expert, praised Trump's move to reinstate service members who were voted for refusing the COVID-19 vaccine. And he told Fox News, it's a great day for patriots, a great day for our service members, my brothers and sisters in arms, he said. Let's not forget, it wasn't just the military. It was other government agencies as well, where they were essentially washing conservatives that were raising their hands saying, I don't want to take this vaccine. Also, over the weekend, Israel and Lebanon have extended their ceasefire through February 18th, according to the White House. So that was reached in November. You'll remember it was set to expire on Sunday, and now the ceasefire being extended through February 18th. Also, Jimmy Butler suspended by the Miami Heat for the third time this month. So this was announced yesterday. He will miss at least 5 games without pay for a continued pattern of disregard of team rules, as well as engaging in conduct detrimental to the team, because he walked out of Monday's shoot-around. So he has been suspended by the Miami Heat. A man from Indiana who was pardoned by Donald Trump last week. He was among those who had entered the U.S. Capitol building on January 6th, was shot and killed during a traffic stop on Sunday. Matthew Huddle of Indiana allegedly resisted arrest, got into an altercation with authorities, and the officer had to fire his weapon, fatally wounded and killed. Matthew Huddle, 42 years old. Also, Kanye West is revealing his net worth after, and this is pretty crazy. Kanye West, you'll remember, he prefers to be known as Ye. Took to Instagram Friday, and his net worth stands at $2.77 billion. Wow. Incredible. Spotify and Universal Music Group, which is the world's largest music label, have announced a new multi-year agreement to streamline recorded music and music publishing rights. So their deal includes a number of different countries. So this is a new multi-year agreement covering recorded music and publishing licenses. And the partnership, the hope of the partnership is to provide more for you. Through innovation then and new subscription models. So Spotify has made some recent cost-cutting measures, layoffs, price hikes, as they're trying to improve their profitability. This headline made me laugh. This is a sports piece as we get ready now for the Super Bowl. And we saw the playoff games then, and Sunday night's AFC Championship game, and this piece by Frank Schwab says, Bills Chiefs, deal with it, America. Patrick Mahomes, KC defeat Buffalo to win the AFC Championship, maintain shot at Super Bowl three-peat. So deal with it, America. Yeah. I say that every day. I think it seems like it's like, wow. Also, U.S. technology firms like NVIDIA plunged after Chinese startup DeepSeek sparked concerns over competition in AI, and America then trying to lead AI. So DeepSeek, and you just heard Kim Commando talk about this a little bit ago. DeepSeek, that's a big story this morning, actually trending, and I expect that you and I will be talking about it more in the days ahead. I saw stories on DeepSeek at the New York Post, at Fox News, a number of other places this morning. So, NVIDIA and other U.S. technology firms plunged yesterday as a result of what's going on with DeepSeek. Also, Purdue Pharma and Sacklers, the Sackler family, have agreed to a $7.4 billion settlement. This is all aimed at resolving thousands of lawsuits connected to the company's role in the opioid crisis. Also, Alphabet's Google looking to shape public perception and policies on artificial intelligence ahead of a global wave of AI regulation. There are a lot of concerns about AI regulation. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. Really great to have you along. Clear and 24. And you're listening to Kello. Well, thanks for being here. And I hope to see you again at the 9:30 for the fourth hour. So please come back to YouTube then. And you take care. Have a great Tuesday.
GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to